What is the most common functionality in every enterprise software? Export to Excel. The only constant in life is change, right? And many things stay unplanned. It's not like we showed up immediately there, right? From zero to hero, right? Already the market was there. It was booming. It was ruled by IBM. And then all of a sudden, this small team from Germany comes with a product that brings in, let's say, a subset of the functionality for no cost at all. We're not in the Google business, right? We're not commodity that every consumer is using. You need attestations, you need ISO, SOX, and C stars and whatnot. The first ship was the cloud. Cloud was the thing. Hey, nobody will jump on this boat. Hey, nobody wants to put data, public cloud, this will not apply. And indeed, it didn't.
Hi everyone, this is Kovid, back with a new episode of groCTO. Today on our show, we have Vlado from Jedox. Welcome to the show. Great to have you
Pleasure to
here.
be here. Hi.
Hey Vlado. All right, before I start off with a beautiful discussion with you around the age-old buy versus build, I would love to know a little bit more about you, your hobbies, what you do at Jedox. So let's start with a quick, cute intro about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Vlado. The long name is Vladislav Maličević. Long name coming. It's a Serbian name and coming originally from Bosnia, but I've been living and working here in Germany for the past 22, 3 years. I started 20 years ago this year with Jedox. I was one of the first employees, one of the first developers and slash employees of the company. Went through the ranks over the years. I was lucky to follow the growth of the company and went through the ranks in the engineering department. I was head of development and director development, VP development. And later on added support, going the cloud team back in the day. And a few years back, I joined the C level and as a CTO with the company of 450, 500 people today, right? And it was an incredible journey to look at from within. Observe and participate in this long journey. So bit more about person. So I'm a father of 3 girls. I have also a sausage dog, and with my wife we live with our kids here in Karlsruhe in Germany, which is a university city. Let's say more in the southern part of Germany. So that's about it.
Cool. I think this is really amazing to see. I mean, rarely we see this, someone spending such long time joining in as an employee and then growing to that C level in 20, 25-year journey. So that has been one of my first experiences actually with someone on this show. I would love to know how it all started and what is Jedox about. What were your vision and company goals and vision at that point of time? Now 20 years hence, how do things look like?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, the only constant in life is change, right? And many things stay unplanned. Initially, I really didn't intend to stay with Jedox. I thought it was in between. Just the in-between jobs kind of thing. And also the setup, it was very small company, small office, just a few people, which by the way, all of them are still with the company. So all the people that were in the company when I joined are still with the company, which is also one quality, I must say.
Yeah.
Like I said, I initially didn't plan to stick too long, but the challenge was there and it became more and more interesting from day to day. And we were kind of, it's easy when you have a kind of blank canvas. Yeah. There is no product. And then you start from scratch and you start building something. And, over time, it becomes, you see more and more of a product, and you see more and more customers, and it's sticking with resonating well with this huge community. And then you add also ecosystem to the mix. You have partners in between the customers, growing globally, opening new offices, adding more people and things like that. So it is simply, it was an incredible journey. Usually you start off, like you said, either you hop from one job to another every few years and change, or you join as a founder, right? You could also be it's not unusual to have a founder on the team, being early on there, and then doing something with the company and moving on, right? I indeed, I wasn't the founder, but was one of the first early people. So I stick with the product and with the company, and this is resonate well with my passion. I kind of map myself, or I reflect a lot of my work life and life with the product that we built over the years. What Jedox actually is we are proud leader in the Magic Quadrant, Gartner's Magic Quadrant for EPM, CPM, or Enterprise Performance Management, Corporate Performance Management, or XP&A, how they call it nowadays. Being in the upper right corner, it was obviously not, it was a journey. It's not like we showed up immediately there, right? From zero to hero, right? It took us a few years to move slowly from the lower left to the upper right corner. And certainly, competing there with others, with the big names like Oracle, like SAP, like Anaplan, and it certainly makes us proud, because we are by far much smaller company by sheer size, and to some extent also by history or by tenure, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it shows that you don't need a lot of people and a lot of money to build good products and make them stick with the customer. One of the things that helped us in the beginning, that's also, we evolved over time. One of the things that helped us in the beginning to put a foot in the door in the market is the fact that initially we were, actually we started as a freeware and then switched to open source, which is kind of, quite years ago. It was things like Linux started showing up around. Actually it was Linux was a way before, but around that time, there was like boom of open source. And we were, I believe, first product in the market to offer planning as open source. And that was a big shock in the market, and helped us a lot to spread the word globally and become known in the market. Although we had the low or no marketing budget whatsoever, right? And then over the years, we matured. We kind of made a clear separation between open source and the commercial bit, and we curated both brands in parallel. But over time, we focus. Nowadays, we are focused totally on our cloud product under the name Jedox, and basically open source is the past. Is also not something that we see in the market nowadays anymore in this let's say, this bubble. It's relatively, you could say it's a niche, but it's a quite I wouldn't say lucrative, but quite a big niche. It's a specific need from the business to be able to quickly plan any kind of data, usually finance data, but any kind of numbers, being headcount in any vertical, in any industry. Yeah, nowadays it's even, you see it in literally every company needs to do some kind of planning. And doing that with a tool like Jedox makes it less error prone and very, very seamless, integrated, allowing to connect to the existing third-party systems, connecting all the data from all the different systems that you usually find. On average, companies nowadays have 150 plus tools or services that they consume. Jedox is well versed in accessing all these different existing products in the customer's ecosystem, and then combining those in Jedox. In a nutshell, Jedox is a platform. It's a low-code platform for building business applications, right? Speaking less technically, but what you have in that platform are components. There's a lot of IP, Jedox IP in there. You have your own in-memory database. You have your own ETL tool. You have your backend middleware. You have front ends for mobile or web, obviously. And we have quite a good integration with Office, in particular with Microsoft Excel, which is kind of go-to application for any business user nowadays, right? Most of the time, the journey of our future customers starts somewhere in Excel. They did something over the years in Excel, and they built it. They invested hours and hours in it, and they've been living it. But they over the years it became cumbersome to maintain it. Multiple copies of it, multiple versions of it, sharing it across the team or even teams. Error prone, and it's known as an Excel chaos, which we actually try to
solve,
get rid solve, right? A lot of product, obviously, 20 years we weren't shipping. So we were quite busy developing that, but nowadays it's a quite extensive, mature, very grown up enterprise platform for building business applications. Right? And coincidentally, majority of the, let's say, first time users come from somewhere from the Office of Finance. Usually that is the entry point where users come from, but it's not limited to, right? It's just usually the entry point, but we spread quite quickly within the organizations because they see the value of the product.
Got it. I think this is very interesting, competing in a landscape where you have MNCs and legacy players already there. You have been there from the very beginning. So the company founders and the company believe in that respect on day zero and today would be very different, right? At that time, you guys might not have even imagined where you would be 20 years hence. Of course, people have a vision there. But what was it like for Jedox team and Jedox founders at that point of time?
Yeah, I mean, the vision was there. The vision, I could say that the vision was to rule the world or rule the bubble, rule this let's say small niche. Even back in the day, appetite was certainly there, but we were also realistic. We knew that it will take a while to even meet, let alone exceed functionalities of the established product in the market back in the day. Already the market was there. It was booming. It was ruled by IBM. IBM was the absolute leader. A company called Infor was also quite prominent in the market back in the day. Actually, they weren't even called Infor back in the day. Yeah. But through acquisitions, they grew into Infor and still exist to date. We knew we were on the let's say on the lower end, and we were disruptor. But one of the vehicles was definitely open source, and coming through the open source. On the one hand side, you have a behemoth, a mature, established leader in the market, selling, I don't know, a couple of $1,000 per user per seat license, and then all of a sudden, this small team from Germany comes with a product that almost, right? Not really back in the day, but almost matches the functionality, brings in, let's say, subset of the functionality for no cost at all. It was open source, and everybody was open also to contribute back in the day. There was no GitHub back in the day. We used to use SourceForge.net. That was the platform of choice back in the day where we hosted our code. The word spread quite quickly, and the adoption, we saw traction very early. I think I joined in November 2004, and we had first version of the product that you can recognize even today and in today's product. So everything you need to know, everything you need to be able to work, you already had. I believe we shipped in February of 2006. So it's a year and a half. It took us 18 months to put the product together. And already there was a in-memory database. We had front end for Excel. We also had, let's say, some primitive way of ingesting data, let's say, baby version of ETL within the product. We had a predecessor to our today's web front end. We had it, it was a web 1.0, the old school web front end that was already connected to this to Excel and to the database. So we had web front end. So we were ready to rock already, to run. Later on, additions came in, including ETL, including modernized version of the web front end. Nowadays, obviously, everything is happening in the web, and you are doing also authoring within the web. And Web 2.0 was a thing back in the day. Like we quickly jumped on the boat. Later on, other innovations happened. So shift to Kubernetes, so microservices and things like that. So going from the legacy, I mean, actually the first shift was the cloud. Cloud was the thing. There was no cloud back in the day, right? Maybe there was some hosting somewhere, but usually customers were running it on their own, or even on their laptops, or within their corporate network, client server kind of thing. And then later, 2012, 13, we saw cloud kind of picking up, and this is where we started our excursion into cloud. And from there, we moved on. Today, we are a cloud company.
So in this whole journey, I think you survived. In fact, you thrived as a product, as a company, right? Of course, you mentioned that you became an open source product, right? So that was one critical move, which probably helped you a lot in exceeding what your competitors or counterpart were doing. But there must have been much more deeper technical decisions. And with this question, I think I'm trying to understand from you how many times you had to take those critical calls which impacted the business in an immense way, and whether these were decisions where you were building products in-house or you were outsourcing it, and how did that journey come along now 20 years hence when you look in the retrospect?
I mean, in retrospective, I wouldn't say there were too many critical events, right? The situation in the market is dynamic, and you have to react literally on a daily basis. You have to make decisions on literally some important decisions are made on a daily basis. However, the strategy, you don't change every 2 days. I would say we had 3-4 waves over the course of 20 years where we were, for example, cloud, decision to go all in on cloud. It took us a while, right? Because we are, I'd say, first of all, it's quite conservative. The market itself is quite conservative. You are usually working with the financial data, very critical. People are not eager to expose financial data out of their corporate network. So when the cloud showed up, it was kind of, oh, do we even jump onto this boat? And I remember vividly. So there were like pros and cons, and there were voices in the company. I would say majority of the voices were against cloud. Hey, nobody will jump on this boat. Hey, nobody wants to put data public cloud. This will not fly. And indeed, it didn't. It didn't fly immediately, right? It took us a while, and depending on the market, obviously, here in Germany, it's quite, I would say, a bit conservative market. So it takes a few years for things to become mainstream and for the adoption. One thing was technically nothing, I wouldn't say nothing special, but was a smart move by Microsoft back in the day when they introduced a thing called German cloud, which was a kind of idea to bring in sovereign German cloud on German soil, operate on German soil, but German company, right? Disconnected from the rest of the world, kind of from the corp in US and things like that. This kind of brought more trust into it, of course, with initial marketing and massaging customers across the German and DACH region, Austria, Switzerland, and Germany region. But it definitely helped to adopt cloud more. And then few years later, all of a sudden it became, cloud became commodity, somewhat delayed, but became commodity even in Germany. And then it was no brainer. Yeah. Okay, let's go. You don't have these conversations anymore, or very rarely. Yeah. that was one thing which was kind of critical back in the days. We started talking about 2011, 2012, but the real push came around 2015, 16. Yeah. So it took us a few years to come from zero to really, hey, full steam ahead. Let's do this cloud thing. That would be one thing. I think being close to Excel. So initially being open source helped promoting the brand. You would need to spend millions and millions globally on marketing to spread the word about Jedox normally. And with open source, it kind of went word of mouth. It very quickly spread. Again, context, right? We're not in the Google business, right? We're not commodity that every consumer is using. But let's say in our bubble, the word spread super quickly. And later, I remember we acquired one company in Australia back in the day, and they became, before we acquired them, they ran as a partner for a few years. And I had a pleasure talking to one of the founders of that company, and he said he remembers well when we announced the first initial version. He was back in the day using IBM, and he read it on some forum that there's a new product called Jedox, and it's open source and it's free, where you can download it and use it, and does almost everything that we used to pay. And he wrote to his colleagues email saying Germans are coming. And I use that reference often. It's quite interesting because, hey, where's Australia from here, right? On the opposite side of the world, but the word spread quickly. So I think that was a good decision to go with open source initially. On the other hand, it didn't create any traction. I must say, very little, almost no traction on the development community, right? We had it up, but we were the sole maintainers, very little input from the community, right? Maybe it's too technical. Yeah. And again, maybe it's a context and a niche which we are in. It's not some commodity that everybody needs on their desktop. So maybe that's one thing. So open source, cloud, being close to Excel was always, I think, was a good thing. Excel is I don't know, there's this big question. Yeah. What is the most common functionality in every enterprise software? And that's actually export to Excel, right? In every enterprise software, you will find that button or option, export to Excel, in every enterprise software. So I don't know, there are billions of users of Excel, certainly hundreds of millions of Excel users globally. And this is a kind of citizen developer, if you look at like from that aspect, and us being close to that, let's say both literally close. We are very compatible with Excel. We integrate well with Excel. We also understand well Excel format. We can ingest it and import and export it in Excel file formats. So literally that, but also this concept of spreadsheet. I think this was also a good, right choice.
I think that most of the time really helps. Like, instead of going out and introducing something completely new, which is not in the behavior of the user, might be a hit. Of course, like, there are revolutionary ideas which are not part of the behavior, and then people form behavior around it. But mostly what I've seen is that any product team building a product closer to the existing behavior of people and the way they are using the current solutions. If you are close to it, then it is very easy for adoption, easy for people to understand and relate to, and they quickly start using. And then, of course, you can put them on a journey of gradual learning where you introduce new features, you put in more services, and then they grow from there. But the initial hooks should be like that, where you are close to the existing solution and yet offering something very impactful and having more data than what the current solution is giving them. So I think it's a mix of few good decisions. I would say there is no single magic bullet that is going to solve for sustaining or a business thriving in this market. It was constantly your eagerness to learn, your eagerness to explore, and then changing and adopting towards things that are coming in, like cloud came in. And then, of course, at every point, you understand that user behavior as well as what the market trends are saying and moved in that direction. So, of course, this really worked out well for you. Few more things that I would want to learn here is that on this journey, when you're building such an immense product used by thousands and maybe millions of users, I'm not sure how many users you have right now, but uh, I'm sure like there are hard decisions that you're taking about, like building something in house and acquiring other companies, like what you just mentioned about one. So when there is a decision around building something in house and like outsourcing it, can
Yeah.
you just give us some example from your journey, and how did you conclude on certain decisions like that?
Yeah. So some of those decisions were made quite easily due to whatever constraints, right? So if you have, let's say, if money is your constraint, obviously, and let's say you have few idle people on payroll, obviously you go and start building, especially when you don't understand the magnitude of the complexity of the problem, right? You don't see the big picture in the beginning, right? You go into it somewhat naive. I can say. I mean, I was quite young at the time. If you don't know the magnitude of the problem, if you don't see the whole scope of it, and you have a white canvas, you go for it, and you simply you give it a try. So there was actually no, in the beginning, there was no decision to be made whether to invest or acquire or whatnot, because the money was not there, right? So let's say in the beginning, majority of decisions were built. And then over time, you have the opportunity to change. You can focus, you can keep the core of the product to yourself. And then whatever is not core, you can try to outsource. The good thing with the platform like ours is that once you have platform in place, you can start building actually these applications on top of it, and you can make those applications to a product. So, for example, one more thing that happened last year, we entered another Magic Quadrant last year for financial consolidation, which is let's say off the shelf separate product from our core product, but is built on top of the platform, but it's sold separately, right? So there are players obviously in the market who do just that, have product just for that, but we build it on top of our platform. So you get the platform and you get a financial consolidation on top of it, and you can build any kind of business application with it. So once you have applications like that, then, and if it's easy to package it like it is with Jedox, then you can come up with things like marketplace, which we do have, right? We do have marketplace. So we put these applications in the marketplace, and then you can easily install them from there. And then it's, I don't know, it covers 60, 70, 80, some cover 90% of the functionality out of the box. And then you just fill it up with your information. And then off you go, right? It's configured, and you can use it. It's ready to use. So the kind of the decision is definitely you have spend constraints. So you have to be cautious on the spend. Similar with cloud, right? Do you go to public cloud, or do you build and host? You do collocate your servers, you build them yourself and run them yourself somewhere, right? Yeah, that kind of decision someone needs to make. And in the beginning, maybe decisions is super easy. Yeah, of course, you go and you buy a pizza box and you put disks in it and CPUs, and then you collocate it to at your nearest hoster of choice. But then if you want to run it at scale, things like compliance come into place, and you need to attestations, you need ISO, SOX, and C stars and whatnot. You cannot manage them anymore on the commodity hardware that fails every 3 months. Something is broken, and you need to take the system offline, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is where you go into cloud and use services and build it like a Lego cherry pick services that you need and build something out of it, and outsource kind of responsibility to it's an infrastructure provider of your choice. Same with code, right? Usually in the beginning, if you have monetary crusades, but you have means, if you have just a couple of people, should be sufficient to get you going, right? That's the thing, right? In the beginning, this Pareto of 80-20, with 20% of personnel, of people, you can build a lot of products. You can build 80% of the product, but the last 20 percent of the product are the hardest, and maybe additional 80% of people to add on board. If you have means, this is where you can make decisions whether you outsource it, let it be built, or you take managed service, OM solution for the means for the particular case. I mean, nowadays it would be totally different, right? You look from different perspectives or from different dimensions, and cost being just one of those, right? So yeah, it depends on context, right? In what kind of context and what kind of setup you are. We are scale up and we are mature company, profitable company nowadays. So we can afford ourselves to take a bit more time to make decisions such as outsourcing or buying, acquiring pieces of product into the whole. Whereas when you are at the beginning, usually you only have an idea and your free time, and then you go and roll up your sleeves and you work, you code. You usually don't have money, right, to go and buy expensive services from others, right? Yeah.
Cool, Vlado. I think that's interesting. We are running short on time, so we'll have to wrap up now. But it was a really interesting talk. Would love to talk more and know more details about what happened in those 20 years, what things you actually felt were very challenging that were solved on those pieces. But I think that would need another episode, and I would love to have you for another episode. Absolutely.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, let's do that some other time.
Sure, absolutely. All right. So that's it for today. Thank you, Vlado. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to host you once again very soon.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
All right. See you. Bye.